Welcome to episode 7 of Open Discourse. This is Dylan and Nick. Nick, say hello.
Hi, dude. Was that a...
I can't, like, just her laughing, I was like, I'm throwing
We
off
have a great guest host for you
We
guys
do.
this
I'm
week.
good.
But yeah, I'm Nick. This is Dylan.
Our guest this week is Georgia. Georgia, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
What's up? My name is Georgia, aka at G Squeeze on Twitter. If you want to holla at me, I am 23 years old. The education background is I have some college. Didn't graduate. You're welcome, Mom. My religious views are I believe there is a God. I grew up very religious, so
What religion did you grow up as?
is United Pentecostal.
Okay.
So like we couldn't do a lot of stuff
Oh man, that's
that I do now. So I don't really believe in religion, but I believe in God. My political reviews.
Political views.
Views. That's what it is.
Sometimes
I got you.
Sometimes you reviews politics.
Yes.
You gotta review it.
No, I'm a Republican,
Okay.
so I am a mix. I voted independent this last voting round, but
So you have certain ideas that are
yeah.
conservative,
Yeah.
certain ones that are...
Oh yeah.
Okay, I got you. Gotcha.
A little bit of mix of both.
All right, that's, again, every week we hit on this. It's the reoccurring theme. So, like, that's pretty much everybody.
So if you're out there and you're listening and you're like, I am 100% conservative or 100% liberal, send us an email. We'll get you on and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Conspiracy theories.
I wish I had that alien
That was not rehearsed.
sound.
Which one we want to dive into first?
Oh man.
Georgia, first of all, tell us your love of conspiracy
Okay.
theories. How do you feel about conspiracy
So-
theories as a whole?
I didn't even know what a conspiracy was until the beginning of this year. I didn't know what was going on about them. I heard about them, but I didn't know. I never dived deep into them until this past year. And then, you know what? I just exploded with conspiracy knowledge.
So what got you into them? Like, was there, like, a show you watched or, like, a certain event?
Yeah, so there's this YouTuber, Shane Dawson. I mean, a lot of people watch him anyways.
Okay.
But he has these conspiracy channel videos, and I just, dived down that rabbit hole,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Gotcha. Got really into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it needs to be known that Georgia's notebook right now says conspiracy and chill on the front.
Yeah.
And it's got an Illuminati sign on it. It's
And
pretty sick.
taped on there.
It's pretty dope.
So we have an expert, clearly.
Yeah.
Let's what do you want to do? You want to do aliens first?
I think we should save aliens for last.
Aliens
Oh,
was
wait.
the end.
I
That's
was
like
going
my
to say,
favorite.
we should talk about the poll. Do you want to talk about the poll
Yeah,
now, or
talk
do you want
about
to
the
save it till later?
If we're saving aliens,
Oh, yeah,
then
true.
we'll save the poll for the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about the flat Earth first.
Oh, man.
The flat Earth theory.
Is the Earth flat?
I want to know your guys' opinion.
I think it's pretty roundish. I think
Pretty
like,
round.
probably not an exact sphere, but
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much a ball.
Right.
I mean, that's my opinion on it. Just based on like, okay, it's nighttime on one side of the Earth and daytime on the other. Like that sounds like, to me, that's all the information I really need.
Your flat Earth theorists can explain all that away for you. I was reading, they even have an anti-moon for whenever there's a lunar eclipse. It's like this invisible sphere that blocks the moon out during a lunar eclipse. So,
Really?
Yeah, they can explain away your nights and days and your feelings of roundness.
I'm not that into it, but I think the flat theory itself is more than the flat Earth. You have to understand like where these people are coming from, flat Earth wise, and there's a lot of things that just don't make sense. Mm-hmm. The fact that every picture, every video you've ever seen in books, TV has been through NASA. Mm-hmm. NASA is a government organization.
Right.
So the government could be lying to you.
So there's like I've seen something about how there's no like one complete photo and they have to piece them together.
Yeah,
or
so
something
you have
that.
to like
you can't-
Photoshop it.
Right, so it never really had like a true
photo of what it is.
Like
Yeah.
from outer space, you
From
mean?
outer space even. It's
Like the
from
satellites can
multiple
only
perspectives.
reach so much of the sphere or something like
Yeah.
that. And they have to go in and like Photoshop the clouds,
Yeah.
which I find weird.
A lot of
if you're photoshopping.
a lot of
like
Photoshop.
you could see some of the cloud like patterns the same on
Like
the
repeated.
Yeah, on the Earth, and it's weird.
It's fishy.
Interesting. So you're saying that, there might be those hardcore people out there who really think they're walking on a flat Earth, but flat Earth is more so overall the government's lying to you probably about a multitude of things.
Yeah.
So do you think it's something that people who just believe in conspiracy theories and they just like denounce everything the government does, they just kind of follow that along with the other things?
My
that
brother-in-law,
Yeah.
he's like
He's just like whatever the government
says is wrong. Like
wrong.
it has some kind of hidden agenda to it.
Right.
And like the fact that the original footage from the moon landing was lost doesn't make any sense at all, because we can keep track of pots from like 2,000 years ago,
Yeah.
but like we can't keep track of footage
Right.
like history making footage
Yeah.
from 40 years ago.
there was a lot
It
of-
doesn't make sense.
Kind of switching to the moon landing. There was a lot of weird stuff about how they lost all the navigational data that they logged, like getting there and coming back. So like all of those numbers, like where they were at, I guess, all of that information was
gone?
lost. Yeah, it's just gone. And it's like, man, that's pretty important. It's like
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me that like we can
Yeah.
keep track of Egyptian time crap, but like
right.
this stuff like we just lose.
Exactly.
So would you say that you think the moon landing was faked?
Yeah. There's even like if you go back and watch the footage on YouTube or anything, there's like this part when everything goes back black and it kind of looks like they're in a studio. And like it's like I don't know about that. Like
There's a big theory out there that Stanley Kubrick, the guy who shot 2001: A Space Odyssey, he directed it, that he actually directed the moon landing in Hollywood. That he made
I
a
believe
set
it.
and that they had strings and stuff and that none of it really happened. But
So what about you, Dylan? Where do you land?
where do
on
I
the
stand?
moon landing?
where do you
Okay,
land on the moon?
where do I land on it? I think that it happened, okay?
All right.
But I think that they changed some things, some footage, and made it look better.
Than what it
Or
was.
maybe they lost the footage completely and they didn't want to chalk it
Like,
up to a loss.
why would they
so
lose
they
that
faked it.
footage? Like-
Right. I mean, I don't know, but
You is dumb. Like
I mean, a rocket shot up into the sky with 3 people in it,
Right.
and then where is it? 3 people? I don't want to like misspeak.
3
Yeah.
or 4.
I was something like a small crew.
However many people.
And they go up there for how many days, and then they come back. Well, it's like, well, that really happened, you know?
Or like I think of the Challenger explosion. Like
Yeah, those people died.
People literally died.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Also, I think some of the technology advancements that we have are due in part to our space
Exploration.
and travel. So for me, that's kind of would be evidence for. I would say at the very least, I would maybe say that there was probably either things that were bad or corruptly done to
Right.
get us there that's
Uh-huh.
been covered up, or that maybe it wasn't as exciting or appealing as it might have been, and we've dressed that up as well. I don't know.
I can see that too though, but I don't believe in like dead set like believe in one thing. I just like it's not wrong to question things.
Right.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
for sure, especially the government. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we've found out that the government has done for sure, and it's like, oh, that's a fact that actually happened. And back in the day, people said it was happening,
Right.
but the government wouldn't admit to it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just so many different examples, like the MK Ultra thing, where they did testing on people and like civilians, military personnel, and they had no idea they were being drugged, but our
Right.
government was drugging them without them knowing about it. That really happened.
Yeah. Right.
Like the American government just drugged a bunch of people and just wanted to see what happened. So it's like, they in the past they've at least done whatever they wanted to do.
That's true. And that you are like a Christian, right?
Yeah.
So there is like kind of some evidence in the Bible too. So there is some like
For flat
religion
earth?
for flat earth.
Oh,
Okay.
So there is did you say the firmament? Did you say you want to talk about the firmament? Which is like, no. You
I
said
thought
something.
the Fermi paradox, Fermi
Oh,
or
okay.
something paradox from
Well-
Meet the Aliens.
Well, in Isaiah, let me see if I can pull it up, but in Genesis 1, 6, and 8, it said God made the firmament, which is a dome-like shape. So a dome is like half of a sphere, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like that makes me believe that there is like a flat and then there's like a dome on top of it.
Kind of like a snow globe is kind of
Yeah.
what I'm picturing.
Kind of like a snow
what
globe,
you're
yeah.
getting at? Yeah.
And then like in Isaiah, let me see if I can pull it up here. Isaiah 11:12, he will raise a signal for the nations and will assemble the banished of Israel and gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So like, there ain't no corners on a spear, but like the Bible's a bunch of metaphors, so
Right.
I kind of get it, like the four corners, like all
Yeah.
the earth. But that is just like an example of like, from a religious point of view, I'm just saying that some people believe there's a flat earth that are religious too, and believe in God and believe in that we're here for.
What was the
purpose.
Isaiah passage you quoted?
Let's see, 11:12.
11:12.
Mhm.
And do you have the translation there?
Yeah.
What is it? King James. It kind of sounded
Uh,
old language. To say
Yeah,
it the
I think it's
affirmative.
like King James or something.
So it's interesting that you say that because I've read the Bible and
Same.
looked up a lot of verses myself in regards to the flat earth and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And Isaiah 40:22 says it is he, this is the English Standard Version,
Mm-hmm.
it is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out of the heavens like a curtain and spreads them like a twint to dwell in. So, and then you were talking, I think with the King James, that might be some older language.
Oh, yeah.
And like you were saying with the metaphors and stuff, but I would hold that, hey, the earth is round and that
Yeah.
God made it that way, and that his people knew it, that it was round. But you were mentioning like Aristotle was like the first
Yeah.
historical.
Whenever we were going to talk about flat Earth, I was like, okay, so when did the general consensus flip? Because it used to be flat Earth, a
Yeah.
long time ago. So
There's
I
a
found
bunch of drawings and artwork like that.
yeah,
shows
that
just a flat
that show
earth.
that it's
Yeah.
completely flat. And then around 300 BC, Aristotle decided or found evidence showing that the Earth was in fact a sphere. And I've heard this before, and I'm not sure if it was a test that he did or something like that, but it was something to where they used wells, and they looked down a well at where the sun was positioned in the bottom of the well, and then they relayed that information to someone else that was at a different well a certain distance away, and then they calculated the degree of where the sun was and found that because of the difference of where the sun was in the well, it showed that they were at different points on the earth, and that they just, I don't know, they figured out the math to show that the earth was round.
I remember reading historically that like sea sailors, whatever you call them, when you would see a ship from far away, the first thing you would see would be the top of the mast. You wouldn't see the ship all at once. Whereas if it was flat, there should be no curve. So
Right.
like it's crazy what they were able to figure out without any going up into space. That they were able to.
They were just able to use their eye to see, like, hey, that ship, all I can see is the top of it, and it looks like
Which
it's behind
suggests there's
the
Yeah.
sea. Yeah,
Very
definitely.
interesting. So Georgia, you said this a couple of times, but there's the far out there people who think that the Earth really is flat. But for maybe the majority of the people who are undertaking this theory, it's more about what has the government lied to us about, right?
Absolutely.
So, one thing in recent history that we think there might be some lies or some cover-ups about, Dylan, is the JFK assassination.
Yes.
So Georgia says she doesn't know very much, but so what do you got?
Okay,
Inform
so
us.
just a little bit of background on it. So there was a commission that was issued, and it's called the Warren Commission. It was basically the information that they found, the investigation that the government did at the time. I can't remember who it was headed by. It might have been Lyndon B. Johnson, but I'm not.
Yeah, I mean
Is
that
it?
was the
he
president,
the president?
after. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so it was him. And basically they took eyewitness study, they took eyewitness accounts and they put all this information together, wrote the report.
They requested like
released
amateur video taking of the event too as well to
Right.
compile like everything.
Exactly. So just some interesting stuff about that. So an unpublished portion of the Warren Commission was sealed and it won't be released till 2039 under the General National Archives
What?
policy. Yeah. So there's a portion that won't be released until then. But recently, they were supposed to release information. I don't know if it was 2017.
Yeah.
Let me find it here.
Donald Trump had the decision in 2017
Mm-hmm.
to either declassify some of the documents that are still classified, or I think the constituents were if it was a threat to homeland or national security than they were to not. And he made the decision to not and to make it longer.
So I have right here, as directed by the FBI and the CIA, he took action on that date to withhold certain remaining files, delaying the release until April 26, 2018. And then on that day, he took further action to make to withhold the information until 2021. So there's certain stuff that they consider too sensitive to even release now. They want to wait
50 plus years
which is
later.
crazy. Because you were saying before the podcast, like, what information from that is that fragile? Like, what can we not know?
Danger.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if people were to believe or find out stuff, it would be like mass chaos, especially things about like conspiracies.
So simply knowing that the government might have covered some stuff.
Yeah, not telling the truth.
Not
Yeah.
knowing the whole truth. The general public, you think, would be a threat to national security because of their
Knock down the doors.
their distrust of the.
People be out in the streets be like, "You lied to us."
That
Yeah,
could be a
exactly.
possibility. I wonder though, like, so back when JFK was assassinated, that's like the heart of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, and I mean tensions are still ridiculous with Russia right now. So, if there was any kind of like Russia assassinated JFK or something crazy like that, that couldn't be released either right now. I don't think.
There's a lot of theories out there that say that Lee Harvey Oswald might have been working for the Russian government, and that he might have killed him first, or he might have actually been working for the American government.
Didn't someone kill him?
Yeah, so that's what we were talking about before the podcast. Lee
sense.
Harvey Oswald is the supposed killer of JFK, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's getting taken into custody of some sort,
He was leaving. I think he was leaving
like an interrogation or something,
in Texas. Yeah, and he was shot by Jack Ruby.
by Jack Ruby,
Yes.
who also died.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he died though.
And
I think
we're
he
a
died
little
in
unsure of
prison,
the
but I'm not
timeline.
sure if he died of natural causes or if he was.
I think I remember reading or hearing that Jack Ruby, the killer of Lee Harvey Oswald, died of a shotgun wound to the head that is supposedly self-inflicted.
So like that itself, like that like something's up with that, cause
This string of deaths.
yeah.
So Dylan, tell me about the single bullet theory.
All right. So basically, in the commission, they outline a single bullet theory, and they say that the bullet enters and exits 7 times through. I don't know if they're counting just JFK's body and the governor's body, or if they're counting the car or like going in and out of the seat. I'm not entirely sure. But basically, the bullet was found on the gurney right next to JFK. And the thing that was super weird about it is that it's like perfectly intact. The bullet doesn't look like it hit anything at all. And anybody who knows anything about bullets knows that as soon as it hits something, that lead bends or it disforms, it changes shape. So that kind of, right there, that one fact kind of shoots that theory.
We'll go ahead and say it now. We'll say it now.
Okay.
Again, guys, we had technical difficulties. We lost 20 minutes worth of footage. So you have to understand, time has passed.
Yeah.
Glasses have been drank.
Yeah.
We
had to regroup. We did a couple
Yeah.
takes. We just lost it a few times, but
settled down.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another thing that I remember reading about was that the original autopsy results and the original like photos of his body that were taken by the medical examiner was burned. Like not just like not even like lost or like misplaced, but burned, destroyed, and they had to be redone and retaken. So I think overall there's just a lot of gray area when it comes to the JFK assassination.
There was also something where they originally said I think his exit wound that came out his throat, they originally called a tracheotomy, and then they switched it at some point, or maybe they turned it into a tracheotomy. I'm not exactly sure. But there was basically, there was a discrepancy there as far as the description of what was done medically before he got to a certain point, and then, I don't know, they changed around some facts and some information.
So, Georgia, I think you had said at the beginning of this, before we started recording, that when we kind of talked about the topics, that JFK had asked about aliens.
Yeah. So what I read, it's not. I don't know if it's true, but so apparently 10 days before JFK was assassinated, he went to the FBI and was like, "Listen, Linda, I need all your information about the UFOs, about aliens. I need it on my desk ASAP tomorrow morning. And then 10 days later, like, he was shot. So I'm wondering if, like, aliens and the existence of something unknown could have ended his life.
Possibly.
Very well could be.
Maybe. Or maybe it was something else, like political motivation. We talked about that too.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been the fact that he was, doing things that other people in the government didn't agree with, and they're like, we got to get rid of this guy.
That too.
I don't know.
That could be it.
Definitely.
But George, I think that was a good segue for the next thing we talk about, which will be aliens. So I want to bring up the poll real quick, and we'll talk about that. So the poll for this week was, do you think there is life other than the life on Earth? Essentially, do you believe in aliens? And so far, 25 people have voted. 76% said yes, and 24% said no. Was anyone surprised? I know I was.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, I thought I was the only one out there.
That had been abducted by aliens.
It didn't shock me too much. I just think that people's opinion on to what extent aliens exist is a lot different.
Right.
So, Georgia, how do you feel about aliens?
I think they exist. What's your guys' stance on it?
I said they exist, but I think that maybe they haven't visited our planet. And I think that it's just kind of like a numbers game. So there's 100 billion stars in our galaxy. Half of them have planets, and then half of those have planets that life can live on. And then there's just like a chance that there could possibly be life there. So I think that there's just a good chance that there's somewhere.
Do you believe when people say they've been abducted by aliens?
I would say that maybe.
Do you think they're like crazy, or do you think there's a possibility?
I'll go ahead and I'll be the hard no. I don't
Okay.
believe aliens exist, and I'll be the hard yeah. I think you're kind of crazy if you think you were abducted.
I think that maybe people might misconstrue it, or they have an experience that they say was them getting abducted by aliens, but really it was them having some type of different experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can handle more people saying that they see or notice like influences of aliens around them. But as far as
UFOs or
stuff like that, or like their effect on technology or global events, I don't agree or believe in aliens, but like that kind of person I can rationalize with a little bit more. But people are like, yeah, I was taken away and here I am again, back from the aliens. Like, I'm definitely hard. No.
Do you know why some people think they've been abducted by aliens? Do you know the symptoms?
I don't know the symptoms.
No.
Well, I'm going to read you guys some symptoms. I got a list here. And apparently if you have 3 out of the 5, you have been abducted by aliens at some point in your life. So the first symptom is lost time as a child. Missing years, don't remember a lot of your childhood. Dylan, growing up, do you remember a lot of your childhood?
I remember certain memories from when I was 4 or 5. I feel like those are my first memories ever. But that large period of time during my childhood, not really.
Not really.
I kind of only really remember small things that happened, little bits and pieces. But the majority of it is kind of blurry.
Blurry?
Yeah, blurry. I just don't really remember.
What about you, Nick?
I feel like I do remember a vast majority of events. I think everyone's kind of foggy with specifics, but big events I think I remember 100%, and I think I could probably describe to you my typical day.
Really?
Or, during that time.
Wow.
If you prompted me and was you were hey, tell me about your vacation that you took in the 3rd grade to this state, I'd be like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. I kind of remember bits and pieces of where I was or what everything looked like, but as far as the specifics, I have no idea.
I'm the opposite. I had a vacation in 5th grade, went to Florida. I've seen pictures, so I kind of, just from the pictures, I remember that, but the whole vacation was a blur.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of it. So I've had from 3rd grade to 5th grade, I don't remember a lot other than what I've seen on home movies or, pictures.
Yeah.
So another symptom is ringing in the ears. You walk by electronics. Do they act funny? Do they go in and out? The sound.
Nick?
The ringing in the ears I experience not very often, but I do. And I wouldn't say that I've ever had an electronic thing. I think anything I have ever experienced like that, it's been more like a ghost kind of thing, like a door opening, not so much like an electronic turning off.
Yeah. I kind of feel this, like every once in a while I'll be driving and then I'll just like get a weird ringing noise in like one of my ears and it'll be there for a little bit it'll be there for a little bit and then it'll just go away. But as far as like a constant thing, not constant, but just every once in a while.
What about technology?
I don't think I've had any weird experiences with technology. Not that I can remember. I mean, I think there are some weird coincidences that happen. Like a light will go out like right when you go into a room, but that's just like a chance. I feel like
you need to change your light bulb.
Your light bulb eventually's got to go out. You might be there when it just you walk by and it goes out.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I work in retail, and so I have to use technology a lot. I work in the pharmacy and I work in up front, and just everything wants to just shut down on me. And I don't know why. Nothing ever works. It could just be my work, but it could just be technology in general. But I seem like it hates me. Well, I recently got a new phone, and it'll just turn off. And then I go to AT&T, and they're like, "Yeah, this is normal, and everything looks right." And I don't know. Technology absolutely hates me, and I hate it.
Gotcha.
So psychic abilities is the next symptom. Do you have deja vu more than two or three times a day?
I wouldn't say 2 or 3 times a day, but I definitely have very, very intense deja vu. And it's weird because sometimes I'll like feel like I'm having deja vu and I'll be like, okay, I feel like this has happened before. But then later on, I'll like experience the same thing again and I'll remember back to the first time I remembered it. And I'm like, that's super weird. And I don't know, deja vu is just such a strange thing.
Deja vu is really weird.
You're just like, I swear I've been here before.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that happens to me a lot. I don't know if I'd say 2 or 3 times a day, but definitely 2 or 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And mine aren't strong in the sense that I might have the same deja vu feeling for the same conversation or experience like multiple times, like you said, Dylan. Mm-hmm. But mine are strong, I feel like, in the duration. Like, once I notice it's happening, like I can literally tell you what's going to happen for the next hour.
Wow, that's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, they're like so long. When I experience deja vu, it's like
mine is usually like the next sentence,
really,
or just like a little thing, like I'll be like, oh, car's like about to drive by, or something like that, and I'll be like, there it is. Like that's so I don't know.
Mine's always a situation, so like it'll be like, oh, I checked out this person before, or I knew like my district manager was gonna come in that day, like
just kind of a sense.
Yeah.
Of like what's going on.
Yeah.
So would you say
for
you like
a surprise visit?
You have like intuition, like you just see certain things before they happen.
Yeah, I think it's that and like a mix of like empathy and I can read the room, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I have some psychic abilities. The next one is, do you see repeating numbers on the clock? Examples are like 11:11, 3:24, 1:23, like constantly. Either throughout the day or throughout the week.
I have a number that I like use in my email and like a couple other things, and I think that I look for it more often. So I'm just kind of like I'm more aware of whenever I see like a certain sequence of numbers, but I'm not sure if like, you know what I mean. I'm kind of like making myself realize that I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever like. You mentioned the 11:11 because, like, make a wish. But other than that, I don't necessarily notice a trend or common.
I think 11:11 we spot out because we make it known. 11:11 make a wish.
Right.
So we're aware of that. But apparently, if the numbers ascend, so you have 123, it means something good's gonna happen. If they descend, 543. They are, something bad's gonna happen. So, I mean, that's what the psychics normally say. So, and the last one is, do you always feel like you're being watched?
I would say for me, no.
Yeah, I don't at all. I don't ever feel like I'm being watched.
Not for the most part.
Not unless I'm in like a work setting where
you're obviously being watched.
Someone is watching me. But
yeah.
If I'm in my house for sure, I never feel like I'm being watched.
Oh, I always, even if I know I'm alone, I always feel like I'm being watched, and I'm like, I see you.
That's crazy.
Like
to me.
it's.
So you just feel like not anxiety, but
Yeah,
like you
anxiety.
just like feel
Yeah,
like
that's
oh,
exactly
really?
like
almost,
sometimes I have like panic attacks because
Really?
of it. Because like
So do you feel like it's like a personal presence, like I'm sorry, not a personal, like a physical presence, or
both.
both?
Yeah, because I feel like. I mean, I believe in aliens, but I don't really believe in ghosts just because I haven't seen anything like ghost wise. So like, I don't think it's like a family member or someone like watching out for me. I think it's aliens.
Okay. So do we think we've been Nick? Have you been abducted by aliens?
I would say hard no.
Yeah,
Probably
I don't
not.
think Nick has had, but you, I'm not sure, sir, if Dylan.
I'd say I'm leaning towards no,
Yeah.
but I'm not entirely
You're
sure.
not sure?
I'm gonna go with probably not, but I don't know. I don't know for a fact.
So Georgia, do you feel like you've been abducted by aliens?
I do. I know that sounds crazy, but there's just times in my life where like I don't remember my childhood and it freaks me out. It could be trauma related or like issues with myself, but like it freaks me out.
Yeah.
So, and that could be a reason why I feel like I'm being watched too. But
Yeah.
So Dylan, according to the poll though, it seems like the vast majority of people do believe in aliens to some extent. So one thing I wanted to bring up was the Fermi paradox. And you had mentioned earlier, the first time around, that with there being so many galaxies, so many stars, so many planets that are, probability-wise, they could be like Earth and be far enough away and have the needed materials for life. But the Fermi paradox is essentially the question of where is everybody at then? If it's so probability likely that it would be almost an insane miracle that Earth is the only life-sustaining planet out there, then where are all these aliens and why haven't we made contact with them?
So I actually read something that kind of answered the question a little bit, and basically what they said is that I think an average sun like ours lasts 10 billion years, and then it's taken 3.5 billion years for us to get to the point where we are now, to where we can actually send, transmissions via like radio wave or whatever and receive stuff like that. So basically we would have to be close enough to somebody else and be at the same point technology wise to where we could send and they could receive, or they could send and we could receive, and to have communication happen between two intelligent, life forces. But most likely that just isn't going to happen just by chance.
Right.
Kind of what they were saying.
That makes sense. I don't know. I'm still a hard no. Yeah. And for me, I think it comes back to religion. I mean, I hold the view that we were uniquely created and designed where we are, and that's about it.
Yeah. There are some people out there that think that we're just the most advanced so far. Like, they say, most likely there would have to be somebody who's more advanced. Well, guess what? Somebody has to be the first advanced civilization or whatever. So.
yeah, I just think aliens don't want nothing to do with us because like,
so?
we're not advanced enough
to
either be a threat or to.
Do you think they take a look down here and they look at like everybody in
like
Hollywood and
peasants.
how everybody's crazy and like we have two different political parties who hate each other and they're like, we don't want none of that.
They don't want to deal with us.
We're just gonna go back to our planet and have peace. They're like, we don't need these people. They're crazy.
I think they're way advanced above their time to be like want to have to deal with us.
So they basically just don't. They're just like, like those guys. They don't know what they're doing yet.
Yeah.
Like we'll come back in 1,000 years whenever they have everything figured out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a possibility, for sure.
All right, so I think that pretty well covers it for episode 7. Got a couple of things coming up in the future, but Georgia, thanks for coming out and being a part of this. I think.
Thanks for having me.
Do you want to plug any social medias?
No, they can find me if they want to find me.
They'll find you. But yeah, we had an awesome time. Thanks so much. We're sorry about the technical difficulties. But
it happens.
It happens.
What I say? Technical difficulties.
True.
I'm here.
It's the government.
Aliens.
It's the government watching under the aliens. Yeah.
No, it's aliens that abducted me.
They're like, yeah, we're gonna shut down this podcast.
Shut it down.
They know way too much. But anyway, thank you guys. If you have any questions or concerns, email us at opendiscourse.od@gmail.com. I never know if I get the email right.
Open.discourse.
I did mess it up again.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Open.discourse, od@gmail.com. I'm so bad. I'm going to write it down next
Right.
time.
You can email us there. And actually, Dylan, real quick, I just checked. We got an email about last week's episode. So we'll just go ahead and hit that real quick. It was a real short kind of comment. So I think we'll be able to have it here at the end. Stemming from moving out, what do you guys think about when your parents get old and they might need to move in? Would you move them back in with you or straight nursing home?
Oh, wow.
Just kind of a question.
I would
Go around the
100% let them move in with me.
Let them move in with you. I'd be the same.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I worked in
Georgia's like straight to the nursing home with you.
I worked in a nursing home, so
Oh,
like,
yeah,
there's no way I could ever.
Nursing homes are
Yeah.
if they really needed it, they can move in with me.
Mm-hmm.
But my parents are very young. I'm very lucky to have very young parents. So hopefully, like, if I have kids, they'll be grown and gone, and
Right.
then I won't have any problems with that. I would just have an issue with, like, my parents telling me how to parent. Like, that
Ooh.
would literally drive me insane.
That's interesting.
But
I
Yeah.
could see that being an issue.
if I have kids and they're gone, like, come on over. I don't care.
I would feel so. I mean, can you imagine if your parents really needed to move back in with
Right,
you,
and
and
you were
everything they've
like-
done for
Yeah.
you, you're like, nah, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna pass on this one.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
All right, guys. Well, again, send us emails. We love the feedback. Be on the lookout next week. We are gonna try something new, doing a live streamed episode of Open Discourse. Obviously, no experience, first time doing it, so it might be a little rough, but we hope you guys are interested and we can make it work and have some good discussion. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.